Hello everyone! This is Julia from Craft Room Adventures for Heffy Doodle, and today I'm super excited to share this magical wintry card with you. First, I die cut some hill panels, and I'm using the Stitch Slopey Joe border dies, and I'm adding a little bit of salvage patina to the edges. Then I'm also using an A2 sized panel, and I added some salvaged patina to the top, and a little bit of peacock feathers to the edges, just for some more definition. Then I'm flipping around the panel and I'm adding spun sugar and kitsch flamingo to the bottom. This will be my little magical lake. Just adding the kitsch flamingo around the edges. I also die cut a little hill border for my stash, and I'm ink blending that with hickory smoke, and I'm also using the brush that had the kitsch flamingo on it for just a little bit of a pink hue on my mountains. And I also die cut the mountaintops out of some white glittery cardstock. Then it's time to create my magical lake, and I'm using iridescent glitter gel. And I'm just smoothing that over the entire pink portion of my background. Just going over it with my little spatula, making sure not to put any of the paste back into the jar because it had a pink tint to it from the ink blending. Just going over it until it was smooth, and then I just quickly cleaned off my tools and my mat just to make sure nothing sticks. And I stamped the fairies and the moon from Absotoothly Awesome, the trees from Santa's Village, and the Christmas tree from Wanna Build a Snowman onto Bristol Smooth cardstock. Here I'm just drawing in some ice skates for my cute little fairies, just with a Copic multiliner. For my moon, I'm using the color 51 and 55. And I'm just going over that with a colorless blender. And then I'm using a little bit of the color 36 on the clouds and also the 49. The markers I'm using are the Zig Clean Color Real Brush markers. And for all of the green shades I use the marker 48, just like I am now, just blending that out with a colorless blender. Then I'm going in with 803 English Lavender for some of the details. And then I'm also bringing in 200 the sugared almond pink on the baubles, just adding a light layer because I will be adding some stickles to those. I colored two of the fairies' dresses and shoes in the same pink combination, the 200, the sugared almond pink, which is just true pink, just like the kitsch flamingo, and then a little bit of the 201, and then again using the 803 the English lavender for the third fairy's dress. For the faces, I'm using 64, or generally the skin. Then going in with 71, just blending that out. And I wanted a bit more definition, so I'm also bringing in, I just blended that out with 73, and I wanted a bit more definition, so I'm also bringing in a shade that's a little bit darker, which is the 72, just below the hair, the, what is it called? The hairline and the dresses, just to make them look a little bit more dimensional. And then I'm blending that out with the lightest shade, the 73. I'm going in with some more of the 201 on the fairy wings, and I'm also adding a tiny bit of the English lavender there as well, just blending that out, as I will also be adding some stickles and shimmer to those. Then for the hair, I'm starting out with 72, and I'm really not good at coloring hair. I have so much practice to do, and the last time I colored hair was months ago, and you'll see I struggled quite a bit. And yeah, well, they turned out okay, I think, but I had definitely have lots more practice to do. I'm just blending everything together with a 73. I'm picking up some of the darker pigments so that I could add some more definition with the 65, because I really didn't like how it looked before. The last two fairies I colored the same way. I used 72 and 73, as well as the colorless blender. And I did want to add a little bit more definition to the first fairy, so again I'm going in with a 65, a little bit more of the 72, and blending that out with a colorless blender. And then I'm also bringing in a little bit more definition with a 72 on the other two fairies. Again, blending that out with a colorless blender, just to get a little bit of movement in the hair, but honestly I'm not too happy with how it turned out, but you know, what can you do? Lots of practice needed for sure. Then it was time to assemble my card. I'm adding the background to an A2 sized card base. And there you can see the beautiful shine of the glitter paste. Then I'm adding the mountain border to my little grassy, snowy hill. Just with some liquid glue, trimming off the excess. Then I'm also adding liquid glue to the back of my mountain panel. Just placing that down, and I wanted to add my moon and clouds behind one of the mountains, just a little bit. So I made sure to add that in first. And then I just pressed everything down. And I'm also adding in my snowy mountaintops. Then I'm adding the little trees and also the Christmas tree in the center. I'm figuring out the placement of the remaining trees, and I added foam tape to the back of the fairies, but I wanted to wait until I had the sentiment done to add those in. So I'm just using a strip of black cardstock. I used my anti-static powder just to make sure that it wouldn't stick. And then I'm using the Elfing Christmas sentiment set to stamp the sentiment Sending Holiday Smiles, which I thought was super cute. I just wanted a really thin sentiment strip at the top. And my favorite way to cut a sentiment strip is to use my paper trimmer and use the like little plastic guide to line up my sentiment. And when you use those guides, you always have like a perfectly straight sentiment strip, as you can see here. And it's just super helpful to do it this way, super easy. Then I'm adding my cute little fairies onto the super sparkly magical lake. I first added it with liquid glue, and then I decided to go ahead and use some foam squares instead, just the thin foam squares, just for a little bit of dimension, because with the mountain and the like mountain top, it was just a little bit too uneven otherwise. And now I'm bringing in even more shimmer with stardust stickles, and I'm adding those on the little baubles of the tree. And this is the point where I've actually run out of stickles. I've officially finished my first bottle of stardust stickles, which is surprising that they lasted this long. So I just brought in a new one and added more sparkle to the trees and also to the fairy wings. And there you can see the beautiful shine of the glitter paste on the stickles, and the lake truly looks magical, don't you think? I just can never get enough of anything sparkly. I had so much fun creating this. I'm loving this season. I hope you are too, since we're moving into Christmas. Subscribe to the Heffy Doodle YouTube channel for more crafty inspiration. And until next time, have a wonderful day. Bye!